Okay, so here I'm going to demonstrate my project for our Unity training. So I'm going to showcase first the Unity scene loader, and then we can go into some of the scenes that I've created to model our factory. So as we mentioned in many of the classes, the scene loader is one of the essential components that we wanted to showcase, making it simple for us to move between different scenes and access different things. So once this loads up, mm, there we are. Okay, so you can see plant overview. That's scene number one. And then molding area and production area are actually the same scene, just set up to access different cameras when we actually click through here. So we'll start with plant overview. So you can see that I've also overlaid the presentation prefabs that we discussed that were part of the requirement for the third project type. So here I will start with just play some music. I think you can probably hear that. So it does activate music with the button. And as you step through, it'll give us a little discussion of some of the features that I've added to it. Just gonna go back and clear that out so I can speak over it. Okay. It disappears once you go to the next scene, so um, so the first thing, obviously the music scene, um, and then next we've got the cesium demo. So this is showing off the cesium aspects that I've put in here. So the real view of the map where our building is located, and this, as cesium does, it gives us real global positioning and then allows us to locate our building on top of it to give a more realistic environment and a realistic size of the objects that we're putting on here. Next, one of the other things I wanted to showcase is Pro Builder and how I use Pro Builder to create some of these complex shapes. So like the little jut outs in the building here, the ramp here, which you can't really see the angles, but some shapes like that where you're not just drawing a box or something simple, and you start having some complex angles. I also used it to make some of the machines that you'll see later. The next thing is the animation scripting. So using animations and scripting is a key feature of Unity and why it's essential to bring these things in our models. Creates a more realistic workflow and realistic view of the world. So some of the things that I added, you just saw pop up, but I'll talk about that one later. One of the big things that I want to showcase is an animation here with the gate, and then you hear the alarm playing. So the alarm actually is a script that's triggered as soon as the door opens. Then the alarm starts playing, and this simulates kind of our actual process where we have this cage with a robot inside of it, and when the door is open, we actually get alarmed to know that the system needs to be shut down for the operator's safety. So this is actually very useful to have kind of set up like this, and eventually what I'd like to do is take this robot and the gate and feed some of the inputs from our actual robot into this model. So I did learn that you can use this UR model to actually connect to your real robot, and it can move around in real time, which is pretty cool. You can also see down at the bottom here the cell door closed notification. So as that moves, there's a little notice that appears on the console. So if I click that, you can see it in there. Yep. Next up, we've got the text mesh demo. So here I'm just showing kind of like a hover over feature, another scripting feature, and just how we can use text mesh. One of the big things that we learned, providing text to an operator is key because it allows us to provide information to them. So this is a great example of some information we can feed to an operator in the digital world to just monitor how things are going. Um, the next step is the Cinemachine demo. So unfortunately, you'll have to wait until we actually get into the real model for this. I can't demonstrate the spline movement with these cameras, so it just wasn't working. So um, we'll have to demonstrate that in a little bit. And back to the outside. So now I'm going to go back into our scenes, and I'm going to start off by showcasing just the molding area. This is just a very simple model, but I want to show how I plan to actually use this to um, create multiple different sections within our factory. So this is one of the sections where we've got a robot set up on a molding machine and doing the operation. So we can actually feed data again back out to this model and connect it in real time to our model. The next thing is the production area. For the production area, I spent a lot of time in this model. I can show you some of the the various assets that I used. Um, so let's go into prefabs and things like that. So all of these prefabs I've loaded in for building robot, the guarding. I actually created my own prefabs for the guarding, just to make it simple to reuse these assets over and over again. Um, so as those kind of slowly load in. So again, we've got the animation functions on both of these. This one does not have the alarm on it, only the actual cell for the robot. Um, and then one of the things I wanted to showcase is the spline, the camera spline that I added to this. So when you click operate, in theory, it would be kind of when the robot actually gets operated, you can kind of pan around it. So we can use this green button and it follows the spline tool. So the camera rig and the cine machine camera, as I mentioned before. So yeah, we can use that to actually pan around our factory and you can see all the different things I've added to this factory, and I think it looks pretty good. I think it's pretty accurate to what our factory actually looks like. So it's a great jumping off point to actually add more detail and more features, things like that. Um, so I know we also are supposed to talk about kind of like the quality of our presentation and how we've been saving things. So I want to go over just how I've been organizing everything. So we have a few things like they're just built-in prefab, so acid transformer, cesium, things like that. That text mesh again, um, things that just get built in and brought in. Um, the other things that I have is audio files. I've organized these. Our materials. So you can see I've saved all the materials I've been using and set these up. So I have also experimented with different lighting techniques and different material techniques. So you can see the brass is a lot shinier. Applying like um, metallic surfaces to that and adjusting how the light reflects off of it. I played around with that a little bit. Um, Other than that, again, prefabs. So I downloaded a few, such as these were the concrete materials, which you can see on the floor. Um, the robot, um, the Unity factory scene. I took specifically like this conveyor belt and some other stuff from there. These shelves that you can see in the background there. I had to pull those in because I wanted to make it again more realistic. From session 12, I pulled in the canvas objects that you saw in the last section when I was going over the scene loader. From session 4, I pulled in some of the textures, I believe, and some little things like the crate, their pallets. You may have seen them briefly. The scaffolding I used, different things like that. So I basically just went through, models that we'd gone through during our course, and I knew had some assets that I wanted, so I brought those in. Yeah, so next can go into presentation settings. So that's obviously brought in for the scene loader again. In resources, this is just some default stuff that's dropped in here, obviously. Scene images, so I've organized all the images that are used like in that scene loader or the logo on the outside of the building, that kind of stuff. and I actually created like a logo material which I applied to the quad to keep on the side of the building to create a sign from that. Beyond that, some of the scenes. So you can see the three scenes that I have, the scene loader, the plant, and the overview. I've also done in our, well, settings are kind of a given. Oh, the scripts. So here are some of the scripts that I created. So camera manager, I think, was provided, and then global audio toggle. So you can see up here, basically just the button that was included on the scene loader, basically just mute, unmute the settings, the hover functionality. So over here, there we go. Over here where it actually hovers when I bring my cursor up in the top region of this. So that functionality is all described there. The open door function, so the function that actually opens it and will set off the alarm. And start production dolly, so the actual function attached to this button to cause the camera to pan around the cell. Um, and I think that's pretty much it. So I can pop it into game view quickly, and you can see, you know, kind of the extent of the model. So I got very familiar in this process of kind of jumping around and getting definitely more proficient with using Unity. So it's great to kind of work around on how to do everything here and experiment with bringing in lots of different models and things like that into it. Um, yeah, and I think that that basically showcases everything. The web section I was not able to get to deploy. I had an issue where Cesium was, I think Cesium was causing WebGL to fail. So it wouldn't actually deploy to the web because of that. So I'm thinking of just taking out Cesium and uploading a copy without that. So if there is a play model available, that will be likely without Cesium. Yeah, just to make the build faster and actually successful. But yeah, so that's my project.